The emergence of a digital currency among the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has the potential to challenge the long-standing dominance of the US dollar in global finance, with significant implications for the US economy and its geopolitical influence. For decades, the dollar has been the world's primary reserve currency, facilitating international trade, investment, and central bank reserves. This dominance has afforded the United States immense economic and political power. However, as the global economy becomes more multipolar and as technological advancements pave the way for new forms of currency, the creation of a BRICS digital currency could disrupt this status quo, leading to far-reaching consequences for the US economy and its influence on the world stage. The dollar's dominance, a pillar of US power. To understand the potential impact of a BRICS digital currency, it's essential to first grasp the significance of the US dollar's dominance in global finance. Since the end of World War II, the dollar has been the cornerstone of the international monetary system. The Bretton Woods Agreement of 1944 established the dollar as the world's reserve currency, pegged to gold, with other currencies pegged to the dollar. Even after the collapse of the Bretton Woods system in 1971, the dollar retained its preeminent status, largely due to the strength of the US economy, the depth of its financial markets, and the trust in its institutions. The dominance of the dollar has provided the United States with several key advantages. Firstly, it allows the US government to borrow at lower costs, as there is a constant global demand for US Treasury securities. This exorbitant privilege, as it has been termed, enables the US to finance its deficits and maintain high levels of public spending. Secondly, the dollar's role as the primary medium for international trade and investment gives the US significant leverage in global economic affairs. Countries around the world need dollars to trade in global markets, particularly in commodities like oil, which are typically priced in dollars. Finally, the dollar's dominance allows the US to exert influence through financial sanctions, a tool that has been used extensively in recent years against countries like Iran, North Korea, and Russia. The rise of BRICS, a challenge to the status quo. The BRICS nations represent a significant and growing share of the global economy. Collectively, these countries account for about 40% of the world's population and over 25% of global GDP. Over the past 2 decades, the BRICS nations have sought to increase their influence in global governance and reduce the dependence on the US-led financial system. One of the key steps in this direction has been the creation of the New Development Bank, NDB, in 2014, an alternative to the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, aimed at funding infrastructure and sustainable development projects in emerging markets. In recent years, the idea of a BRICS digital currency has gained traction as these nations seek to further distance themselves from the US dollar and create a more balanced global financial system. A digital currency, backed by the economic power of the BRICS nations, could serve as an alternative to the dollar in international trade and finance. Such a currency would leverage the technological advancements in blockchain and digital finance, offering a faster, more efficient, and potentially more secure means of conducting cross-border transactions. How a BRICS digital currency could undermine the dollar. The introduction of a BRICS digital currency could undermine the US dollar in several ways, potentially leading to significant challenges for the US economy. Erosion of dollar demand. One of the most immediate impacts of a BRICS digital currency would be a reduction in global demand for US dollars. If BRICS nations begin using the digital currency for trade among themselves and with other countries, the need for dollars in international trade would diminish. This could lead to a decrease in the demand for US Treasury securities, raising borrowing costs for the US government and increasing the national debt burden. Diversification of reserves. Central banks around the world currently hold a significant portion of their foreign exchange reserves in US dollars. However, the availability of a viable alternative, such as a BRICS digital currency, could prompt central banks to diversify their reserves, reducing their reliance on the dollar. This diversification could weaken the dollar's position as the world's reserve currency, further diminishing the economic advantages the US enjoys. Reduction in US influence. The dollar's dominance has allowed the US to exert considerable influence over global financial markets and international policy through mechanisms such as sanctions. A BRICS digital currency could weaken this leverage by providing countries with an alternative means of conducting transactions outside the dollar-based system. This would make it more difficult for the US to enforce its economic policies globally, reducing its geopolitical influence. Increased competition in global finance. The introduction of a BRICS digital currency could increase competition in global financial markets, challenging the dominance of Western financial institutions. The BRICS nations could establish their own payment systems, clearinghouses, and financial infrastructure, bypassing traditional US-dominated channels. This competition could lead to a fragmentation of the global financial system, with different regions using different currencies and payment systems, further eroding the dollar's global role. The technological edge, blockchain and digital finance. A critical factor that could determine the success of a BRICS digital currency is the underlying technology. Blockchain, the technology that powers most digital currencies, offers several advantages over traditional financial systems. It provides a decentralized, secure, and transparent ledger for recording transactions, reducing the need for intermediaries and lowering transaction costs. Additionally, blockchain can facilitate faster cross-border payments, which is particularly important for trade among BRICS nations, given the geographical distances and varying levels of economic development. Moreover, the rise of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, around the world suggests that governments are increasingly recognizing the potential of digital finance. China, a key member of BRICS, is already at the forefront of this trend with its digital yuan, which is being gradually rolled out for domestic use in cross-border transactions. The success of the digital yuan could serve as a model for a BRICS digital currency, demonstrating the feasibility and benefits of digital finance on a large scale. Geopolitical implications, a shift in global power dynamics. The creation of a BRICS digital currency would have significant geopolitical implications, potentially shifting the balance of power in the international system. For decades, the US has used its economic dominance, underpinned by the dollar, to project power and influence globally. This dominance has allowed the US to set the rules of the global economic order, from trade agreements to financial regulations. However, a successful BRICS digital currency could weaken the US position, leading to a more multipolar world where power is more evenly distributed among major economies. This shift could embolden other countries and regional blocs to challenge US policies, leading to a more fragmented and competitive global environment. In such a scenario, the US would need to adapt to a world where its economic tools are less effective and its influence is diminished. Potential risks and challenges. While the creation of a BRICS digital currency poses significant risks to the US economy and its global dominance, it also faces several challenges. The BRICS nations are diverse, with different political systems, economic structures, and levels of technological development. Coordinating a unified digital currency among these countries would require overcoming substantial logistical, technical, and political hurdles. Moreover, the success of a BRICS digital currency would depend on its acceptance by other countries and global markets. The dollar's dominance is not just a result of US economic power but also of trust and stability. The US financial system, despite its flaws, is seen as reliable and transparent, with a strong legal framework and institutions. A BRICS digital currency would need to build a similar level of trust and credibility to challenge the dollar effectively. Additionally, the US is unlikely to stand by idly as its dominance is challenged. The US could use its considerable influence to pressure other countries and institutions to continue using the dollar, potentially through diplomatic, economic, or even military means. The US could also accelerate its own efforts to develop a digital dollar, leveraging its technological prowess and financial infrastructure to maintain its leadership in global finance. The future, a new global financial order. The potential introduction of a BRICS digital currency represents a significant development in the ongoing evolution of the global financial system. While it poses substantial risks to the US economy and its global dominance, the outcome is far from certain. The success of such a currency would depend on a range of factors, from technological innovation to geopolitical dynamics. If a BRICS digital currency does succeed, it could mark the beginning of a new global financial order, where multiple currencies and payment systems coexist, reflecting the multipolar nature of the world economy. In this new order, the US would need to navigate a more complex and competitive environment, where its influence is diminished but not eliminated. Ultimately, the rise of a BRICS digital currency could serve as a wake-up call for the US, prompting it to reassess its economic and financial strategies in a rapidly changing world. Whether this leads to a decline in US power or to a renewal of American leadership through adaptation and innovation remains to be seen. What is clear, however, is that the global financial landscape is on the brink of a major transformation, and the stakes for the US and the world could not be higher. If you liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos.